is going to show you how to upload a sermon to the website. Now, how you get the sermon audio files and all that information, we haven't quite figured out that workflow yet. I'm not asking any of the office staff at this point to actually edit the sermon audio or video files. That'll be Jesse or me or Stephanie or somebody from the tech team or a volunteer or somebody. I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure that out as we get to it. This post is really just how to upload the files once they're all ready to be posted to the website and to the podcast. So where the sermons live online is on our website, lakeviewfree.org, under the Watch Read menu and Sermons. You can see it will load the sermons page, and you can sort by series, you can sort by or filter by speaker, and you can filter by scripture or topic. And you can see the different sermons that have been uploaded so far. Now, our entire sermon archive is not on Squarespace yet. A lot of our sermons are still on Subsplash, and we're going to be working on transferring those over the next few weeks. I'm going to add an old one to the website today just so you can see how this process works. So first we need to go to the admin portal of the website, which is just admin.squarespace.com, and then log in, and it will take you here. We're going to be adding a sermon, so we'll click on Pages, and then in the main navigation bar under the Watch Read folder is the blog called Sermons. So we'll open that. Each sermon post is a blog post, and you can see the sermons blog here, and you can see the sermons that have been posted here. So we're going to be adding a new sermon to this blog feed. So I'm going to click the plus sign, and it opens up a new post. And so the sermon that we're going to be posting today comes from the series Stuff Christians Believe, and it's the first one. It was Article 1 of our Statement of Faith, We Believe in God. And so I'm going to enter in that post title. Now here, under the date and author, if I click that, it will open up the blog post settings. So first we need to add a featured image, and I'm going to do that. Go to OneDrive, Media, and I'll navigate my way to where the artwork is. There's the title, and it will take a moment to upload and synchronize that. Here for the excerpt, if there is one main scripture passage that we're using for this message, I would enter in that scripture passage here. In topical sermons like these, we kind of jumped around, and so there's not really a specific text that we were using. So I'm just going to leave the excerpt blank. Beneath that is the author. This is the speaker, and Josh was the speaker that week, so I'll change him. And then I'll go to options. Now for status, we'll come back to that and publish it. Right now I'm just going to leave it as a draft. For tags, again, if there was a specific scripture text that we were using, we would enter the book of the Bible here, or any other keywords or topics that are relevant to this message. So I'm just going to add in a few keywords. And if you're not really sure what tags or keywords to add, just ask whoever was preaching that week, and they can give you that information. Again, I did not add the book of the Bible because this was a topical series and we jumped around a lot. So there's not really a book that goes along with it. Okay, after we've added our tags, we'll come here to categories. The sermon series are the categories. So every sermon post, it belongs to a category of some kind. Even standalone sermons, we can have a category called standalones. That's fine. This was from the sermon series Stuff Christians Believe. So I will add that category. And then I'll click back. And that's pretty much it for the blog post settings. So we'll save that there. And you notice it changes the author to Josh Raley because he was the speaker. Now in this text block, we're going to put a little synopsis of what this sermon was about. Something like this. 1 or 2 sentences, maybe 3. If you're not sure what to put there, ask the pastor who was preaching, and he'll tell you what needs to be added to there. Now, in these sermon series posts, it's the audio block that actually drives the podcast. So remember, Squarespace is a block editor. Each piece of content is a block, and you can drag and drop or delete or add blocks. We need to add an audio block. So I'm going to click the little plus sign above my text, and it opens up this list of blocks, and I'm going to select audio. And we need to add an audio track. I've downloaded the MP3 file that goes along with this sermon series. Like I said earlier, we haven't really figured out the workflow yet for how those MP3 files will be produced, but they will be, and they'll be saved somewhere that's accessible, and that will be communicated. For now, I'm just going to get it out of my downloads folder. And while that's uploading, I'm going to go ahead and enter in the rest of the information here. And I'll click on the podcasting tab while this is still downloading, and I'll enter in the information again. This podcasting tab is really what generates the content. For subtitle, I just put the sermon series. And then for summary, I just paste what I put here. That shows up in the podcast notes. That's what we have to do to drive the podcast. We just need to wait until this is done uploading and processing, and then we can close this little pop-up window. Okay, that's ready. We'll just click out here to close the pop-up window. And then we need to add video. Not all of our old sermons have video. This one happens to. So I will click below the text paragraph and I'll add a video block. And notice that it wants the video URL. We don't actually upload video files to Squarespace. We save the video files on YouTube. And what I've been doing with our newer sermons, because we're live streaming the whole service, is I just go to YouTube, grab the live stream link, and post it here. I don't really take the time to cut the sermon videos out of the rest of the video. I figure if somebody wants to watch, they can just watch the whole service. So I'm going to grab the link to this particular YouTube video and paste it here. Successfully located. There's the video. And then we'll come back up here to the date. And we'll click Options, Status. We'll change it to Published. And we need to set the date on which it was published. This was on June 7th of 2020. Now, unfortunately, you can't type that date in. You have to just click back until you find June 7th, 2020. This little timestamp, 9:02 p.m., it doesn't really show up anywhere. It doesn't really matter. So I wouldn't worry about changing the time to 9 o'clock or 10 a.m. or 8:30 or anything like that. Just make sure you have the right day that the sermon was preached, and that's pretty much all we need. Then we'll save it. That also publishes it, and we'll save it there. and that sermon has now been published. It's online. If it was a new sermon, it would go into our podcast feed automatically. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I hope this video was helpful.